to the TokyoBill Weekly Update. Recent stories around Japan of interest to me, TokyoBill. Today is February 21st, 2026. Relatives of Japanese citizens abducted by North Korea urged for the return of all abductees while their parents are still alive. They held a meeting in Tokyo on Sunday, starting with a moment of silence for abductee Keiko Arimoto's father, who died last year at the age of 96. Sakie Yokota is now the last surviving parent of 12 abductees recognized by the Japanese government. The group created a policy stating they would support humanitarian aid to North Korea if all abductees return soon, but if not, they will demand the government impose stricter sanctions. The family members are closely monitoring potential meetings between U.S. President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un and are pushing for a Japan-North Korea summit. The Japanese government has ended a system that required notifying lawyers of foreign nationals 2 months prior to deportation, effective February 1st. This system, established in 2010, aimed to allow time for legal defense against deportations. The Immigration Services Agency cited concerns about foreign nationals going into apparent hiding after such notifications as a reason for the change. 7 such temporary disappearances have happened since 2019. Fear of forced deportation among foreigners appears valid, with 249 deportations cited in 2024. Despite protests from the Bar Association claiming violations of legal rights, the agency plans to continue allowing foreign nationals to file lawsuits within a 1-month grace period after a deportation decision. The Bar Federation criticized the termination of the notification system for lacking sufficient consultation and ensuring timely judicial recourse. This change is part of broader government efforts to increase deportation significantly by 2027. A Tokyo District Court has sentenced 41-year-old Toshiya Fujita to life in prison for his involvement in a series of robberies led by a mastermind using the pseudonym Luffy. Charged with robbery, resulting in death and injury in 7 cases, including the murder of a 90-year-old woman, Fujita allegedly coordinated the robberies from an immigration facility in the Philippines. Despite his defense claiming he was coerced, the judge ruled that he played a crucial role and treated human lives lightly, characterizing the crimes as part of a new trend of remote-directed, anonymous serial robberies. The defense is considering an appeal, and trial dates for 2 other defendants are yet to be set. Sushi Sushi, a popular Australian sushi chain founded in 1998, has been acquired by Japanese company Genki Global Dining Concepts for an estimated $160 million, or US $112 million. The transaction follows Sushi Sushi's listing for sale in mid-2025 and its acquisition by Odyssey Private Equity in 2019. Genki, operator of multiple fast food sushi brands throughout Asia and the USA, aims to strengthen its international presence. Sushi Sushi co-founder Anna Kazman realized the demand for quality fish on rice in Australia extended beyond the high-end restaurant scene and set about building an affordable sushi brand across Australia, currently operating 190 stores in Australia. Australia's sushi market is projected to have approached $1 billion by 2025. In 2025, South Korean visitors to Japan reached a record 9.46 million, surpassing Chinese tourists as the largest group of foreign visitors. Catering to this enthusiasm, Nijimori Studio, a Japan-themed park in Tongchuchan nearby Seoul, offers a Japanese cultural experience with traditional houses, cuisine, and accommodations. Opened in fall 2021 during travel restrictions due to COVID-19, the park faced some challenges such as a boycott of Japanese products in 2019. Still, it has appealed to young people and families seeking authentic experiences without the cost and time of traveling to Japan. the park's producer has noticed a shift in how people refer to Japan, speaking about wishing to visit individual places like Sendai rather than Japan in general. In 2025, 3.65 million Japanese also visited South Korea, indicating a mutual interest despite any political tensions. Japan's transport ministry has made it easier to import U.S. cars by changing inspection rules due to a bilateral tariff agreement. U.S. vehicles will no longer need to undergo extra safety tests should they meet U.S. safety standards and get approval from the Japanese transport minister. A red star-shaped sticker on a vehicle's rear will mark such compliant vehicles, and inspection certificates will confirm their authorization. This change, part of a deal from last July, aims to reduce the U.S. trade deficit with Japan and will also apply to Japanese-made cars in the United States. Additionally, the Japanese government will use U.S.-made Japanese cars as official vehicles, with Trade Minister Ryosuke Akuzawa going on a test ride, praising the vehicle's spaciousness and comfort. On Tuesday, online tutoring provider Banzan, operator of the remote learning service Megastar, was ordered to commence bankruptcy proceedings after abruptly halting all operations, leading to outrage amongst parents and tutors. Megastar, popular for its AI-enhanced online lessons, made the unexpected announcement late on Friday, especially angering parents who had prepaid significant tuition yet received fewer than promised lessons. Schools that had been working to incorporate Megastar into their programs beginning in April now face logistical challenges. Tutors are also affected, with one claiming 800,000 yen in unpaid compensation, further underscoring doubts about the company's transparency and trustworthiness. Banzan has not responded to inquiries.
Let's take a short pause. In case you're wondering, I'm TokyoBill, a long-term expat from Canada with an interest in the local craft beer scene. I started the TokyoBill as a blog where I wrote about local pubs and events, and then included news articles on Japan that I happened to find interesting, not just the big stories carried by the mainstream media. If you like what you're hearing but want further information, please visit theTokyoBill.com for links to the original articles. Thanks. And now, back to this week's news roundup. Tokyo Electric Power Company announced that the number 6 reactor at its Kashiwazaki Karewa nuclear power station has started sending electricity to Tokyo for the first time in 14 years. The reactor connected to the power grid early Monday morning and increased output to 270,000 kilowatts by late evening. It had been restarted on January 21st, but faced issues shortly after, resolved by February 14th. TEPCO plans to raise the output by 50% and will temporarily halt the reactor for inspections before restarting and moving on to full capacity. Commercial operation will commence on March 18th, pending approval. If all goes well, the reactor can potentially supply electricity to 3.75 million households. Japan's Transport Ministry will implement a ban on mobile batteries in flight cabins, effective April, as part of new guidelines from the Civil Aeronautics Act. This decision responds to incidents on planes where lithium-ion batteries caught fire or began smoking. Passengers will not be allowed to use mobile batteries to charge devices or power outlets in seats, and only 2 portable chargers will be permitted per passenger. The rule follows similar bans by some foreign airlines, and the International Civil Aviation Organization is considering regulatory measures. Recent incidents on planes have led to these safety concerns, including an overhead luggage compartment fire linked to a mobile battery on a plane in South Korea just last month. Sanae Takaichi was elected as Japan's 105th Prime Minister during a special diet session Wednesday, subsequently forming her second cabinet with all previous ministers remaining in their positions. The government's immediate focus is on passing the budget for the next fiscal year, which has been delayed due to the dissolution of the House of Representatives. In the session, Eisuke Mori was elected as lower house speaker and Keiichi Ishii as vice speaker. Takeichi confirmed the continuation of the coalition with the Japan Innovation Party. She is also expected to prioritize responsible and proactive finance policy and constitutional revisions. The special diet session will last 150 days, with significant deliberations commencing soon after initial policy speeches. Major convenience store chain Lawson announced its expansion into India on Wednesday, with plans to open its first store in Mumbai in 2027 and to grow to 100 locations by 2030. This move aims to establish India as a key overseas market after China. Lawson intends to create a wholly owned subsidiary in fiscal 2026, launching 5 directly operated stores initially, then expanding through a combination of franchising and licensing agreements with local businesses. The company plans to tailor its food offerings to local preferences, relying on local firms for manufacturing and logistics. Currently, Lawson operates approximately 14,700 stores in Japan and around 7,800 stores internationally, including China and Indonesia. Lawson will face competition with rival 7-Eleven, which entered the Indian market in 2021 amid strong economic growth. A research team led by Tokyo University of Science and the National Institutes of Natural Sciences has discovered a new species of giant virus, named after Ushiku-Numa Pond, Ibaraki Prefecture, where it was found. Unlike typical viruses, the Ushiku virus is large enough to be visible under an optical microscope and infects a common type of amoeba, replicating inside its nucleus. It is harmless to humans and animals. The Ushiku virus shares characteristics with a previously discovered family of giant viruses, Mammaliaviridae, suggesting a close evolutionary relationship. The discovery is hoped to provide insights into the evolution of eukaryotes, which include humans, animals, and plants. The findings were published in American Society for Microbiology's Journal of Virology. Japan's Health Ministry panel has approved the commercialization of 2 regenerative medicine products derived from iPS stem cells, marking a world first. The drugs, ReHeart by Kuo-Rips and Amkepri of Rakthera, are intended for severe heart failure due to ischemic cardiomyopathy and Parkinson's disease, respectively. IPS, or induced pluripotent stem cells, enable the creation of heart muscle sheets, which improve heart function and reduce symptoms in clinical trials. Amkepri is used to treat the brains of Parkinson's patients, showing promise in restoring dopamine and improving motor symptoms in participants. Approval for Amkepri was granted on a limited basis for 7 years, pending further discussions around pricing and distribution. Kuo-Rips aims to launch ReHeart this year. Starting in 2026, tourists in Japan will no longer be able to take the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, JLPT, which certifies non-native speakers' Japanese skills. To apply, individuals must have mid to long-term residence status or special permanent residency and must provide a residence card number and expiration date. This decision was prompted by improper or incomplete contact information with visiting overseas applicants, complicating returns of test results. This means that without a residence card, non-residents can no longer sit for the exam. While this restricts access for most short-term visitors, some individuals with certain provisional residence statuses, such as non-Japanese military personnel and diplomats, will still be allowed to take the JLPT. Japanese cram school operator Luminaris is launching an online school called Virtual Cram School Wish High. It aims to help high schoolers in rural areas that lack access to the many private tutoring schools available in larger cities. What makes Wish High unique is all teachers are actual VTubers who have their own online content. The school offers monthly lessons for about 9,900 yen, 65 US dollars, and is open to anyone in Japan wanting to learn, regardless of age or education level. The school will also have a YouTube channel for students to learn more about their teachers. 2 special live streams will be held to celebrate the opening, scheduled for March 1st. That brings us to the end of this week's news. And once again, your visit to theTokyoBill.com would be greatly appreciated. I've been, and remain, Tokyo Bill. Thank you for listening, and take care.